Namah Parvati Pataye Govindanam Sankirtanam.
Namaste everyone. Very happy to see you all here once again. So before diving deep into the Srimad Bhagavatam, we are going to hear now today Krishnavataram. So before going that, we will start with an invocation, prayer, before listening to Bhagavatam. Om Shuklam Bhardaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarvavighnopashantaye. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha, Guruve Sarvalokanam, Vishije Bhavaroginam, Diye Sarva Vidyanam, Dakshinamurtiye Namaha, Tennadudiya Periyava Potri, Ennattavarkum Ireva Potri, Sarvajna, Sarvavyabi, Periyava Charanam, Maya Peraparakum Maha, Periyavadi Potrim. Om Janmadhyasya yato anvayaditradaschaarteshu abhigyah swaratam tene brahma hridaya adikavaye muhyanti yat surayah tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisham damna svena sada narasta guhakam satyam param dhimahi. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayati girim yatkripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. So, in the last session, we have seen Srimad Ramayanam. Srimad Ramayanam narrated by Sukacharya to Parikshitam. So, after narrating Srimad Ramayanam, Sukacharya explained the complete Surya Vamsam and Chandra Vamsam. Chandra Vamsam is Nimi's dynasty. So he also narrated Krishnavataram. Krishnavataram, he told that, he told the entire Krishnavataram, and after that he told that Krishna went to Vaikundam. See, he told everything to Parikshit very briefly, in a crisp manner. But Parikshit, Parikshit, the Gangadhiram, he's, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukacharya. So, what happened? Parikshit, he pleaded, he prostrated, by 13 slokams to please Sukacharya. He asked Sukacharya to explain the Gopala Charitram in detail, not very briefly, not in a crispy manner. He wanted to hear the Gopala Charitram. He told that, see, I have come here to hear only the Gopala Charitram here. But you have, you finished the Gopala Charitram in no minutes. So I want to hear the entire Gopala Charitram, entire Krishna Avatar. That is, in the, at the end of the 9th canto, 24th chapter, Sukacharya, he summarized the activities of Krishna. That is, he spoke of how Krishna had personally appeared to reduce the burden of the earth, burden on the earth, and how he had manifested his, pastimes, householder, and how soon after his birth he has transformed himself. So, but Maharaja Parikshit, he is being naturally, he is a devotee of Krishna. So he wanted to hear more about Krishna, Lord Krishna. So Maharaja Parikshit, his question itself, he asked some questions to Sukacharya, and that question itself are very wonderful questions. That is, the 13 slogans, describes all the questions, like, see, you please kindly describe the wonderful, this glorious activities of Krishna and Balarama, in the Yadu dynasty. How Balaraman, the elder brother of Krishna, appeared in the Devaki's womb And later on, he then got transferred into Rohini's womb. How come that is possible? And please, elaborate the secret of Swami's birth, Bhagavan's birth. See, the Yadu dynasty belonged to the, family descending from Soma. Soma means moon god. That is, Krishna appeared in the Yadava dynasty descending from the moon god. So there are two different Kshatriya families of the royal order. See, one descending from the king of moon planet, and the other descending from the king of sun planet. I mean, sun god. So the Rama appeared, Lord Ramachandra, that is, whenever Paramatma appears, he generally appears in the Kshatriya family, because he comes to establish the religious principles and the life of righteousness. So Lord Ramachandra appeared in the Surya Vamsha, the family descending from the sun god. And when he appeared as Lord Krishna, he did so in the Yadu Vamsam, Yadu dynasty, Yadu Vamsam. So whose descendants was from the moon god, Yadu dynasty. So in this 9th canto, that is 24th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a long list of kings of Yadu Vamsha. We have already seen the Surya Vamsha, the kings of Surya Vamsham, Surya dynasty. That in the same way, in this 4th chapter, in this 24th chapter, a long list of Yadu Vamsam, means king of Yadu Vamsam, was explained by Sukacharya. All the kings, all the kings of Yadu Vamsam were more mighty, were very mighty and powerful. In that Vamsam only, the king Yayati appeared. Later on, King Yayati appeared, and in his Charitram, what will happen is, he would lose his youthfulness because of a curse, and Yayati asked his son Yadu to exchange his youthfulness with him. But his son Yadu, he disagreed. But Yayatri could do this with his youngest son, Puru. So he exchanged his oldness with his youngest son, Puru, and got his youthfulness. But Yadu, he did not want to exchange, because he did not want to exchange his youthfulness, because, he knows that his father would apply, his youthfulness. He's going to apply to his mom. So he doesn't want him to do so with his youthfulness. So he doesn't want to exchange. See, that type of yogic power. That type of mighty and powerful kings are Yadu Vamsam, belongs to Yadu Vamsam. So Lord Krishna appeared in such a powerful Yadu dynasty, Yadu Vamsam. And Krishnavataram is said to be Purna Avatar. He is said to be the Purna. Generally, generally what happens is, people or layman like us, he may think that Krishna is only an ordinary person. Even in Mahabharatam itself, they think that they are only cousins. Krishna is only a cousin brother, yet another person like us. So Maharaja Parikshit pleaded here to Sukacharya to describe the Gopala Charitra, to describe the entire Krishnavataram. But Sukacharya never opened his eyes, because he is a saint, he is a jnani. If he wants, he will open his eyes and say. Nobody can dictate him. Nobody can tell him to open his eyes and do something, because he is a jnani. So one cannot force him to do anything. So Parikshit here said, he pleaded. He said, see, the description of the Lord, the right medicine for this conditional soul, undergoing repeated kind of birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing? Who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord, except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? That is what the slogan says. So those sannyasis who had left the material desires, like the desire for gold and desire for women and land. It is a pennase, ponnase, mannase. That is, even those sannyasis who left all the things would enjoy the Krishna Leela, Krishna Amurdam in their heart. When discourses on Krishna Charitram or Krishna Leela, takes place between a guru and a disciple, say, also sometimes, all the other people there, they will take the advantage of hearing these topics about Krishna Charitram, about Krishna Leela, and also benefit. So these topics, the topics means this Charitram, Krishna Charitram, the topics of Krishna Charitram, are the medicines, or the medicine to stop the repetition of birth and death. So we have done so many kind of karma, so many sacks of karmas, and we have to take the, as many janma or birth, to get rid of all these karmas. So the cycle of repeated birth and death by which one takes, on different bodies again and again is called bhava, means bhava rogam. Bhava rogam. Bhava rogam means taking birth again and again with different kind of bodies. So bhava rogam. So in between that, bhava rogam means taking birth, taking repeated birth and death. But in between those birth and death, we have to undergo so many things, like, like old age. We have to cross our old age, sickness, getting fear, scared or afraid, That is, hearing Bhagavatam is the only medicine to get rid of all the 5 stages. Means Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Bhayam. So Bhagavatam and Bhagavan only helps to get rid of, this Bhavarogam. At the time of Mrityu, Mrityu means death. At the time of death, one feels 1,000 needles prickling or 1,000 needles poking one's eye. Jara means old age. Old age is another dosham. Dosham means when an old person, if he wants to keep a leg, keep his leg, or if he wants to walk at one place, he cannot do so. Due to his old age, sometimes he slips and fell down. It is said, even his own son, his own son cannot control his laugh before helping. See, that's how, old age is, feeling of insecurity. And another thing is Vyadi. Vyadi means the disease. We don't want to elaborate these things. Always coughing, being a nuisance to others, and, demeaning himself. That is the old age kind of Vyadi and all, And another is Bhayam. Bhayam means fear. Fear for everything. So these are all the 5 doshams. So one cannot think of not hearing Bhagavatam when one knows about these doshams. So therefore, what happens is Krishna Kathai or Krishna Charitram is the remedy, is the only remedy to stop the repetition of birth and death. Karmis or persons, attached to this material, sense enjoyment, generally cannot give up the material desires. But what happens is, Krishna Kathai is such a potent medicine that if one is, induced to hear Krishna Katha, he will certainly be free from all these desires. Even in the even for living in a even for living happily in this material world itself, you don't have to go to that much, even for living happily in this material world, Bhagavatam helps. There are 3 groups of people. There are three groups of people in the world. One is Jivan Muktal, and second is Mumukshukal, and other one is Rishigal. Rishigal. See, only Bhagavatam helps these three groups. Here Parikshit was pleading to Sukacharya. He was, he was literally pleading to Sukacharya to say the Krishna Charitram. He says, I will become a Kritagnan if you don't say Gopala Charitram. See, taking the boat of, Krishna's lotus feet, he says like that, taking the feet, the boat of the Krishna's lotus feet, my grandfather, Arjunan, and others, crossed the ocean of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, in which such commanders as Bhishma, resembled, a killer whale, that could very easily have swallowed them. But Krishna helped them to cross all the hurdles. Nothing would happen without the Paramatma's help, without the Paramatma. Only Paramatma has saved me, even in the womb of Uttara, even in the womb of Uttara, to hear this Bhagavatam. So, by the mercy of Lord Krishna, my grandfathers, crossed this ocean, which was very difficult to cross, as easily as, one steps over the hoof print of a calf. Because my mother, Parikshit mother is Uttara. His father is Abhimanyu and his mother is Uttara. So because my mother surrendered unto Lord Krishna, Krishna's lotus feet, what happened? Krishna came with the chakram, Sudarsana chakram. He entered into the womb of Uttara and saved Parikshit. Even in her womb, entered her womb and saved. He says that he saved my body and the body of the last remaining descendant. He is the last remaining descendant of both the Kurus and Pandavas, which was almost destroyed by the fiery weapon of Ashwatthama. So if I am not hearing this Bhagavatam, I will become a Kritagnan. So please share it to me. Please tell me. Kindly enlighten me, by describing his transcendental glorification characterism, Still Sukacharya never opened his eyes. He was sitting. He was entirely in the transcendental ecstasy. So he never opened his mouth and he never opened his eyes. So Maharaja Parikshit told, see, suppose if you think that I am hungry or thirsty, because he was hearing, the Bhagavatam, for 7 days he was hearing the Bhagavatam without eating any food, without drinking any water. So he thought that suppose if you think that I am hungry or thirsty, please don't think like that. Because I am drinking the divine nectar of Krishna Charitram. I am going to, the topics of Bhagavatam is such a divine topic that it's kind of nectar to me. And I am drinking that. So please, your Lordship, see, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. So it cannot hinder me. So please. So here what happens, see, as I said before, when Sukacharya, when Sukacharya was describing or narrating the entire Bhagavatam, so many other rishis and so many other people also heard the Bhagavatam along with Parikshit. And one of them was Sutar. Sutar is the son of Roma Harshan. And Sutar was here. Sutar was praising Parikshit because, saying that, oh my dear, these are all slokams. These are all the explanations of the slokams. Oh my dear, even though you know that the death is nearing you, and you want to hear Bhagavatam. Sutar was, actually telling to this Shaunakadigal, he was explaining, he was narrating Bhagavatam to all the Shaunakadigal. Briganandana, Vishnu Ratam. Vishnu Ratam means Parikshit's another name is Vishnu Ratam, meaning Vishnu has saved Parikshit to hear the Bhagavatam. So See, when hearing Bhagavatam is not so easy, that it's not so easily available, because all our sins, that becomes a hurdle to hear the Bhagavatam. Even doing punyam itself is like that. Even old people, deny to hear Bhagavatam. But hearing this Bhagavatam itself is Mahabhagyam. Hearing Bhagavatam removes all the papams, all the Mahapapams. So this is the only remedy for all our sufferings in the age of Kali. So Sudar started appreciating and thanked the king. Because, he only begged, he only pleaded Sukacharya to open up to narrate Bhagavatam. That's why Sukacharya narrated Bhagavatam, and that's why Sukacharya told the Krishna Charitram, and we are very fortunate to hear now about Krishna Charitram, isn't it? So he was praising, he was thanking. Sudar thanked the king with great respect. And now Sukacharya, he opened his eyes. He said, "Hey Rajarishi Sattama, see, you prayed me with 13 slogans, and you proved yourself. You proved yourself to be the best of all the saintly kings. So since you are greatly attached, you are greatly attracted towards the Krishna Charitra. See, it is certain that your intelligence is firmly fixed in spiritual understanding. So, which is the only true goal for the humanity. And because, that's why Sukacharya, he started to say Krishna Charitram. See, the attraction towards the Krishna Charitram is, unceasing. That is, it is certainly very sublime. He said, the slogan says, the Ganges emanating from the toe of the Lord Vishnu, purifies the three worlds, the upper, middle, and the lower planetary system. So similarly, this Krishna Kathai, the Krishnamritam, Krishna Kathai purifies all the three varieties of men. The three varieties means the speaker, one who says the Krishna Charitram, or the preacher, and the people who listens attentively. He has to listen attentively. He has to put his, he has to pray to the Lord that, all our papams and sins should go. Who listens, and the people who inquires, like who arranges the kind of Bhagavatam. Bhaktaram, Pritchakam, Shrotram. All the three, it benefits, Krishna Kathai, Krishna Charitram. So after that, Sukacharya started Krishnavataram in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, Sukacharya praised also. He praised King Parikshit, Raja Parikshit, and started Krishnavataram. The reason for Krishnavataram was the entire world was overburdened. There are a lot of adharmic activities. The power of Rakshasas, has increased. And so the Bhudevi was overburdened, and she assumed the shape of a cow and approached Lord Brahma for relief. A cow means a mother, a mother can have even 10 children. But if one turns out to be bad, what will happen? She could never tolerate. See, that's how it is. So here, what happens? The Bhuma Devi has lots of children. She is holding lot of children. But when adharmic activities started to raise, then she could not tolerate. So here, what happened? Lord Brahma, accompanied by Lord Shiva and other devas, took the cow-shaped mother earth to the shore of the Milky Ocean, where Paramatma, where the Paramatma lies, Lord Vishnu, who lay there in the island of the transcendental ecstasy. Now, Lord Mahavishnu told him not to get scared. So don't get scared. He said he would appear in the earth to mitigate the burden created by Rakshasas. And he said he would appear in Yadukulam, Yadava Kulam, Yadava dynasty. Okay, the Devas along with their wives should appear there as associates of Lord Krishna in the family of Yadu. And by the will of Lord Krishna, what happened? The Adisheshan would appear. Adisheshan would appear first as Balaraman, and the Krishna's potency, like Yoga Maya, would also appear. And Brahma informed about all these to the Mother Earth and other Devas, and they all know. And they all know that whatever Lord says, he will abide. He will do that. He's a Satyasandan, and he will do that. So, before Krishnavataram, Sukacharya started Kalyanam. It's Mangalam. Means See, anything you start, you have to start, there is some way to start, which is very divine, which should be very divine. Mangalam. Mangalam means divine. So, Sukacharya here started Kalyanam of Devaki and Vasudeva. Vasudeva married Devaki. Devaki was Kamsan's sister. Kamsan is a Rakshasan, and Kamsan's sister is Devaki. But, Devaki was Kamsan's sister, and, is not an actual sister. She is a cousin sister. But still, the affection between a sister and a brother was so much deep. See, that is why in Bharata Desam, during the period of Shankaranti brothers, used to give at least a rupee, at least something to his sister, showing their affection. It is said, the prosperity, it is also said, you should note that, it is said the prosperity of the house increases only when sisters live happily. So here after marrying, Devaki, Vasudeva was returning home with her on a chariot driven by Kamsan himself. He was a charioteer there, Kamsan. So there were so many merriments, so many noises, so many, vadyams were going on. But more than all the noises, an ominous voice, means an Ashariri, addressed Kamsan. That is, it's an unembodied voice, Ashariri, isn't it? So it addressed him as, Hey Abudha, means you foolish idiot. The 8th child of the woman, whom you are carrying with the reins of the horses, will kill you. So after hearing this voice, from the sky, he caught hold of the sister's hair with his left hand and took up the sword with his right hand, and he was ready to sever her head, kill her. At that time, before he had been, till that time, he was so affectionate that he was acting as a sister's charioteer, means chariot driver. But as soon as he heard that his self-interest or his life was at risk, then he forgot all the affection towards his sister, for her, and immediately, he became a great enemy. So this is the nature of Rakshasas. Wanting to, pacify Kamsan, who was so cruel and envious that he was shamelessly, ready to kill his own sister, Vasudeva. Vasudeva is a great soul, and who knows Devaki only from the morning. He became affectionate to Devaki. See, that is how our mantram is. It is the marriage institution, why the marriage institution is happening. Marriage institution, the two person are binded by mantras. That's why, even an ugliest woman or ugly men, they become fond of one another immediately after the marriage. So this Vasudeva, who knows Devaki only from the morning, he spoke to Kamsan. Like he praised Kamsan. First of all, you have to praise Kamsan, otherwise you won't leave Devaki. isn't it? So he started praising Kamsa. He said, Bhavan, how could you kill your sister? You are a Guna Sampannan. You are the pride of your family. You are a pride of your dynasty. That is the Bhoja dynasty. So the great kings, praise your qualities. You are such a person. How could such a qualified person, how could such a person as you kill a woman and that too your own sister, especially on the occasion of the marriage? So this is too wrong. You should not do that. See, oh great Kamsa, one who takes birth is sure to die. He says all the Vedantam. He describes the Vedantam to Kamsan. For one who is born should die. For death is born with the body. If at all, if you are not dying today, then you are going to die tomorrow or 100 years after. So, but death is sure for every living entity. So, how one puts one leg, before taking the other leg. Similarly, the Jivan catches the Yatra Sharira and then only leaves the body. See, when the next body is obtained, he gives up the present body. So just as a person, he rests one foot on the ground and then left the other, the conditioned soul, takes shelter of the another body and then gives up his own, gives up the one he had before. So, thus the body and soul are separate. So don't get scared of death. So they ever try to, pacify Kamsan. But, Kamsan is a Rakshasan. It's a Rakshasan. He could neither be, he could neither be pacified or nor terrified by a good instructions given by Vasudeva. He himself, he knows all the Vedanta. Kamsan himself, he knows all the Vedanta. So he could say, why can't you, why can't you tell all this Vedantam to your wife? So when Vasudeva saw that Kamsan was determined to kill his sister, Devaki, he thought to himself very deeply. So therefore, what happened? He attempted another way to save Devaki. See, what happens is as long as the intelligence and bodily strength, an intelligent person always must, he must try to avoid death. So he thought, so this is the duty, that is the duty of every embodied person. This is the, he should avoid the death by using his intelligence first. So Vasudeva, he considered by delivering, he thinks, by delivering all my sons to Kamsan, who is a death personified, so I shall save the life of Devaki. Perhaps Kamsan will die before my son takes birth, or since he's already, destined to die at the hands of my son, one of my sons may kill him. For the time being, let me promise to hand over all my sons, okay? So that Kamsan will give up that immediate threat. And if in due course of time Kamsan dies, I shall have nothing to fear. So after, thus considering the matter, as far as his knowledge would allow, Vasudeva said, oh, best of the sober, you have nothing to fear from your sister. Devaki, because, of what you have heard from the unseen Ashariri, omen, the cause of death will be her sons. Therefore, I promise that when she gives birth to the sons from whom you fear, whom your, fear has arisen, I shall deliver them all, okay, unto your hands. Kamsan was satisfied, okay. See, with whatever Vasudeva has said, now he is satisfied. And as per what he said, Vasudeva kept his promise, because Vasudeva had already made a sankalpa. See, before doing a promise, one cannot blindly do any promise to anybody. You can't just like that promise to somebody. You have to make a sankalpam, whether we can do it or not. So he made a sankalpam before making a promise. So as soon as the first baby was born, he gave it to Kamsan. Kamsan was very pleased. He thought only the 8th child is going to be the culprit. So why should I kill this first child? So he left Vasudeva free. But in between, what happened is Narada Muni, he came and said to Kamsan, don't fool yourself. See, the count may start from anywhere, not necessarily from 1st to 8th. So it can start from anywhere. So, see, this Kamsan is a Kalanemi, the Rakshasan, in his previous birth. He jailed Vasudeva and Devaki with strong iron shackles and killed all the 6 babies. And during this 7th pregnancy, the whole pregnancy, the whole thing was transferred to Rohini's womb. Rohini is also one of the, Rohini is wife of Vasudeva. And everyone thought, it was abortion. Like, see, Kamsan is the most powerful son of Ugrasena. Okay, he even imprisoned his own father, the king of Yadu, that is the Bhoja dynasty, Andhaka dynasty, and personally, ruled the states known as Shurasena. Kamsan, he was under the protection of his father-in-law, Jarasandan, and with the help of all his Rakshasa friends like, Pralamban, Bahasuran, Chanuran, Trivardhanan, Aghasuran, Bhanan, Mukshigan, and Bhaumasuran. He began to oppress. He began oppressing the members of all the Yadu dynasty. And Kamsan thought anyone from the Yadu dynasty will kill him. So therefore, what happened? The members of this Yadu dynasty, left their homes, homes, and sought shelter in various states, in such states as Kuru, Panchalam, Kaikeyam, Kekeyam, Salvam, and Vidarbham, like that. So only some of them stayed with Kamsan, like Akrura, like that. Some of them stayed with Kamsan. So after Kamsan killed Shadagarbham, the 6 sons of Devaki, one after the other, Adisheshan entered the Devaki's womb and was transferred to the womb of Rohini by the manipulation of Yogamaya. So the Lord himself, who was soon to appear, as the 8th son of Devaki, ordered Yogamaya to take birth in the womb of Yashoda. Now, what happens? Now, the whole universe, is properly, is very, very, should get the prosperity, auspiciousness for all the living entities in all the universes of creation. So, when the 7th child of Devaki, was attracted and transferred into the womb of Rohini by Yogamaya, Devaki seemed to have a miscarriage, So there's all the other inhabitants, of the palace, loudly, lamented, alas, Devaki has lost the child. The 7th child is gone. Thus the Paramatma, who is the super soul of all the living entities and who, who vanquishes all the fear of his devotees, entered the mind of Vasudeva in full opulence, and he is going to take birth in Devaki's womb. And we will see the Krishnavataram in the next session. So we will start the Krishnavataram, actual Krishnavataram, how the Krishna is born, in the next session, and I will, close this session with this, up till Balaraman was born. Up till the 7th Garbham of Devaki and the 8th Garbham. We will deliver the 8th Garbham in the next session. And I will close this session with Purna. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.